Okay, so last step would be add 3, right? Yeah, really easy thing there. So x equals 3 plus or minus I radical 2. Those are the solutions to the quadratic equal to 0. They're not x-intercepts, though. They're solutions for x, but they're not x-intercepts because they're complex numbers, not real numbers. So understand there's no x-intercepts on the graph. And when you graph that, so with your graphing calculator, hit y equals. Notice how I've got plot 1 still on from what we were doing the last couple of days. I need to turn the plots off so that it doesn't screw up my graph. So to do that, press the up arrow and get whatever plot you've got turned on, get it blinking, and just hit enter, and it'll turn it off. Notice how it's not darkened in anymore. That means it's off. And now I want to type in that equation just to show x minus 3, close the parentheses, squared, plus 4. I'm going to hit graph. My graph is way out of whack because I've got my stuff set to that zoom stat. So I need to set it to regular window. So how do I do that? Zoom 6 gets it back to that. We see that parabola shape. We also see it does it across the x-axis. So you've got the graphing calculator. You should be able to check all of these things with that and make sure you're finding the right numbers involved there. So it shouldn't be a big deal. All right, one other form. Intercept form. We know it's f of x equals a parentheses x minus m x minus n. A still does all the same stuff. Nothing's changed about that. After that, there's the only real shortcut there is setting it equal to 0 to find x-intercepts. That's the only real shortcut to this. It's in the intercept form, so that makes sense, right? As far as vertex or maximum, minimum, axis of symmetry and stuff, my suggestion is to multiply it out to standard form. And follow the rules from standard form for axis of symmetry and vertex. And go from there. Since it's already in factored form, you won't need that for x-intercepts. Okay. Now, let's take an example real quick. Try to get done before. H of x is equal to negative 6 x squared minus 8x, or let's do, excuse me, I'm sorry, skip this line, x plus 7 x minus 8. So there's our intercept form or factored form. Means the same thing. So intercept form, factored form, same thing. And we want to get all of the same stuff. So axis, vertex, domain, which we already know. Range we'll find in a minute. And let's get our intercepts. So I'm going to find the x-intercepts first before I do anything else. Because if I'm having to find all of that stuff, those are the easiest thing to find because we're in intercept form. So set the whole thing equal to 0, and it says it's still recording. So negative 6 parentheses x plus 7 parentheses x minus 8 equals 0. Set it all equal 0. Divide by negative 6. And then what do you do with each of those factors? 7 equals 0. So x plus 7 equals 0. X minus 8 equals 0. And so that gets us x equals negative 7. X equals 8. So the intercepts are negative 7, 0, and 8, 0. So there's the X-intercepts. For everything else, I really need to get it in standard form to find it. So I'm going to multiply the problem out to get it into standard form. So I'm just multiplying out x times x is x squared minus 8x plus 7x minus 56. And then we'll multiply everything by negative 6. Or I'm going to combine that first. That's negative 1x, right? So that'd be positive 6x plus 336. Now that I have it in standard form, what's the y-intercept? Yeah, 0, 336. So to me, it's easier to do that. Or you could plug a 0 in for x and work it out. You're going to get the same number, okay, for the y-intercept. Axis of symmetry, negative b over 2a, negative 6 over negative 12, be 1/2. So my vertex is at 1/2 something. I need to plug in 1/2 of that. So 1/2 squared is 1/4. So that'd be negative 6 times 1/4 plus 3 plus 336. Negative 3 over 2 plus 3 plus 336. 6 over 2, 672 over 2. 673 minus 670 over 2, which reduces to be 335. Hold on, I did that wrong. That's 3 over 2. Not. So that's 670. That's 6 over 2. So that's 675 over 2, which doesn't reduce. That's right. Okay. So we found our vertex, we found our intercepts, so now we can find the range. So which way does this one open? Down. So it's going to go from negative infinity up to 675 over 2. Bracket on the 675 over 2. So intercept form gets you that. All right. So there's our practice problems. I'll try to piece together this YouTube video here of all this stuff.